open our eyes up
It's for this
to
one,
the
right?
modern ways of teaching that maybe we have overlooked, or the ones that because it is emerging, the ones we know, the ones that are in the
Oh, I
pipeline,
want to drop some.
and probably the challenges that we are likely to face. And the technologies will definitely go a long way in improving the quality of teaching and learning, and of course, other people that we will be a chance to teach. So I had expected this talk to be full, and I want to believe that before this lecture ends, we will have a fuller house because this topic is quite apt and very relevant in the times that we are in. So I want to welcome you all and ask that sit tight and listen attentively. Definitely, you have one or two things to take home and better your lot in the teaching profession. And for those that are coming out with the outside the university's walls, trust that definitely there is something that for you to take away with that will also impact on the way you receive the teaching and the learning and the university has for you. So once again, I welcome you all to this event and trust that it will end well with all of us living better informed on the way forward with modern technologies and instruction for our good and the good of our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Acting Vice Chancellor. At this point, I know that 90% of us know Professor Beshel Cletus. I'm also convinced that about 99% of us did not know teacher Professor Beshel Cletus. At this point, therefore, who will to tell us a little Beshel Ushie before you invite Dr. Ro Agambe Abort to say something about the inaugural lecture. And we put our hands together.
Um, all dignities duly observed. I count today one of the greatest days in my life, one of the happiest days in my life, because it is a privilege for me to do the citation of my own teacher. This inaugural lecturer taught me in JSS 1, and today I have that privilege to introduce him to you. Professor Beshel Ushie, my teacher, received his primary education at the famous St. Teresa's Primary School, Ibon 1, between 1964 and 1969, where he obtained a Division 1 in the first school living examination. He proceeded to the very prestigious Boki Boys Secondary School, Okonde, studied between 1971 and 1974, but dropped out because there was no registration fee for WAEC. With an unquenchable desire to become a teacher, a profession that was quite cherished and reserved for the most intelligent, he proceeded to enroll at the legendary St. Thomas Teachers Training College, Igoli, Ogoja, where he got the teacher's grade 2 certificate in 1979. In 1981, he enrolled at the University of Uyo for his NCE, which he obtained in 1984. Determined to test the malabatic training. If you have never tested, you have never been to Unica, please come and test that malabatic training. Professor Ushie joined the prestigious University of Calabar in 1986 and graduated in 1989 with a second-class upper honors degree in elementary education. He returned to the University of Uyo and obtained a Master's of Science and Doctor of Philosophy degrees in Education Technology in 2008 and 2000 and 2008 respectively. Teacher Beshel Ushie started his teaching career at St. Thomas Primary School, Utuguan, on 17th November 1975. He taught at the Giadi Secondary Grammar School, between 1985 and 1989, where he taught me integrated science. That was after NYSC at Junior Secondary School, Sukundi, Wukari, Taraba State. He had a brief stint at St. Thomas Teachers Training College, Ogoja, in 1990 and left for Federal College of Education, Panchin, Plateau State in 1991. Owing to his outstanding performance during his terminal degree studies at the University of Uyo, he was asked to return to the department. So in 2008, Teacher Ushie assumed duty at the University of Uyo, where he stayed until 2016, when the University of Calabar found him appointable to the exalted position of professor. Incidentally, we were both teaching at the University of Uyo, and we left the University of Uyo at the same time for the University of Calabar. You can see how connected we are. Professor Ushie has made significant scholarly contributions to the field of educational technology. His contributions have focused on areas such as blended learning, mobile learning, educational gaming, and adaptive learning. Through his studies, he has shed light on the effectiveness of these emerging technologies in promoting students' engagement, motivation, and achievement. Professor Ushie has authored numerous articles, books, and research papers, many of which are widely cited and recognized as cornerstone works in the field of educational technology. Some of his notable publications include Enhancing Student Learning through Blended Learning Approaches, Gamification Education, Engaging Learners in Digital Age, and Emerging Trends and Future Directions in Mobile Learning. He boasts of more than 79 publications. In recognition of his significant contributions to the field, Teacher Ushie has secured research grants from funding from various prestigious institutions and organizations. He was the team leader in 2012 Global Fellowship Program of Nigeria, South Korea on education policy, planning, and implementation hosted by Korea International Cooperation Agency. These grants have allowed him to conduct in-depth studies, develop initiative, educational technology tools, and deepen his research agenda. Apart from his research endeavors, Teacher Ushie has been an exceptional educator, having facilitated learning across all levels of formal education in Nigeria. Over 2+ years, you may only imagine the quantum of products he has provided for the different sectors of the economy. He has mentored numerous graduate students, inspiring them to pursue research in educational technology. His teaching methods emphasize hands-on learning, encouraging students to apply technological tools in their educational settings. Teacher Ushie's dedication to teaching has earned him admiration both from colleagues and students. Teacher Ushie is an active member of various professional associations related to educational technology. He is a member of Educational Media and Technology Association of Nigeria, where he served in various capacities. Through his administrative acumen as the top of the Secretariat, the Professional Association for the first time got recognition and registration by CAC since its existence as a Nigerian Visual Association in the 1960s. He actively participates in conferences, workshops, symposia. Teacher Ushie is happily married to Beatrice Beshel Ushie, and they are blessed with 4 lovely children: Andokia, Baba Ushie, Baba Onimushuye, Akumaya, and Unimashi. Also, Cletus Ushie's contribution to the field of educational technology have been remarkable. His research, publications, teaching, and mentoring reflect and sink deeply with commitment to improving education through this effective integration of technology. His works have transformed the educational landscape, leaving a lasting impact on educators, researchers, and students globally. Madam Vice Chancellor, ma'am, it is my privilege to introduce to you today about this inaugural lecturer. It is a privilege that will live in the memory of my memories. I introduce to you Professor Teacher Ushie.
The Vice Chancellor, University of Calabar, Professor Lawrence Bankwembi, here ably represented by Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Professor Angela Oyeta, all other protocols already established, I would intend to stand by them. Gentlemen and ladies, greatest Nigerian students, greatest Nigerian students, I want to yarn, I want to vibrate, I want to illustrate. It is my pleasure it is with utmost humility that I stand before you this day to render my inaugural lecture. I started teaching at the tertiary level of education in 1991 at the Federal College of Education, Panshin, in 1991. By 2008, I found myself at the University of Ushie, from where I proceeded to University of Calabar in 2016. When I finally relocated to University of Calabar to assume duties in my department where I graduated years back, I had an urge to defray this intellectual debt to my department for so honoring me with the position of the first co-professor of educational technology in the University of Calabar. I was, however, advised by a still small voice that I should tarry a while, study the new environment before I leave. And it is for this reason I have waited and have observed critically my professional colleagues, strategies they have used to defray this intellectual debt. That is why, by God's providence, I'm here before you with the intention of showcasing myself as a thoroughly bred teacher, both in training, certification, and practice. may ask, why this topic, emerging technologies and instructional delivery in the 21st century, do not abort the vulnerable species? It is knowledge in Nigeria that each and every one of us is an endangered species. Endangered species on the basis that currently the education system in Nigeria is facing a lot of hiccups. And it has been established that the easiest way to bring a country to its feet or to its bad state is by lowering the standards of the education system. So I'm of the opinion that Nigeria, the supposed giant of Africa, is in danger because of the malfunction of the education system. Because it is common knowledge that if we get into our school systems today, you'll see teachers engaged in activities, very frivolous activities that are uneducated. In the same way, some parents will march to schools to quarrel teachers for reprimanding their so-called precious children or works. And since this is happening, the education system in Nigeria is in trouble. And if care is not taken, we are going to crumble. Because like I've said, it is not by bringing sophisticated weapons of war to a country that it will crumble that country. The simplest way to crumble a country is to lower the education system. And I think that is happening in Nigeria. And if this is happening in Nigeria, we teachers should be concerned on how we will be able to avert these problems. And it is on this basis that I took this topic, emerging technologies and instructional delivery. Because instructional delivery is a set of activities that teachers, learners, skills, environment interact with the purpose of bringing about a positive change in all those who are engaged in it. Both the learners and the teachers have a positive change. There is interaction. The purpose of this interaction is to bring about a positive change in those engaged in it in a positive direction. And if we are able to bring this positive interaction between learners and teachers in our environment, there's a tendency that we'll be able to bring ourselves out of this precarious situation of Nigeria. So, in the course of interacting, in the course of instructional delivery, no matter how intelligent the teacher is, no matter how stimulating the environment is, or no matter how the learner is equipped, there is always available instructional tools that will aid the interaction or the exchange of ideas between teacher and learner. And these tools over the years have evolved. And the evolution of these instructional tools, their sophistication to a great extent determine the quality of life. That is why we have different stages of life. We call some societies developed, we call others developing, and we have others as underdeveloped. The categorization of these societies is based on the kind of material, the kind of tools that are used for instructional purposes. And so, emerging technologies are not actually new technologies. They are existing technologies, and when new features are added to the old ones, and new values are added, then we say they are emerging. And so there is no time you say this is a new technology. We are revamping, the technologies are evolving through the acquisition of new features and new values. And so when we go into discussing these emerging technologies, you see that the basic features are there. It's just that there are new ones added. And so we may ask, when did instructional delivery start? If we go back history, if we go back to the creation story in the Bible, God created man and created other creatures and asked man to take charge of other creatures. Other men came into existence, and there was supposed to be interaction between these people who are in the universe. And there is individual differences among men. Not everybody is endowed with the necessary skills. And so there needs to be interaction in such a way that those who are deficient in some skills are assisted to imbibe those skills from those who are endowed. That is the basis of instructional delivery, the genesis of instructional delivery. Individual differences require that people should interact so that those who are weak, those who do not have certain qualities, those who do not have certain traits are assisted to acquire those traits so that they become more functional to both themselves and the society. So the evolution of instructional technologies have been categorized into three phases. The first phase, sharp stones, small stones of pebbles were used for instructional purposes. The small pebbles, small stones were used as stand-ups in computational exercises. That is, those of us who went to school in those days, when you go to school, they ask you to pick stones. And when you are doing arithmetic, it's those simple stones that they use in adding or subtracting. Then, the sharp stones were used as pens to scribble messages on those stones that had flat surfaces. This was done in order that the messages became permanent. And if we go back into our Bible again, at the time of Moses, when he went up Mount Sinai, and he came down with tablets of stones on which the laws of God were written. This was the era of the Stone Age. You can see the different slings of stones. Some are flat, some are sharp, some were used for weapons of war. And from this usage, messages were transmitted to people. Then this period grew into the wood or paper era. The wood and paper era majorly had plants, especially trees. These trees were converted into paper. And on this paper, objects were used to scribble messages. The boost that came with the wood paper age was the reinvention of the printing press by Johann Gutenberg. And this printing press brought about a lot of information produced. And this gave rise to the first phase of knowledge explosion, because materials were available in written forms, in books, in pamphlets, and were distributed. Those who were rich enough to buy these books and papers, put them in their houses, and those who could not afford the printed materials went to the houses of these people and were reading. And this was the basis of all readers, Free Readers Association. You'll find out that even up to today, if you go along the streets where newspapers are sold, you find a group of people reading the newspapers, getting the news, and getting back to their homes without buying newspapers. So this was the era of wood and paper. This transformed into the computer age. And the computer age started with the manual hand typewriter. And this developed into different stages to the fifth stage of generation of computers. Now that we have very smart computers that do a lot of activities with great speeds and sending information across borders. To the extent that because of the sophistication of the computer, we now have what we call the 21st century society. So the 21st century society is characterized by specific skills that learners at this period should be able to explain. These skills, they are categorized into three. We have learning skills, popularly also referred to as the 4 C's. We have social skills, and we have also literacy skills. These are the 3 broad categories of skills that learners within the 21st century should be able to impart. And when we want to plan instructional system, the learner is a very important component. His characteristics will determine what we should be able to plan and teach. And so the question we want to ask now is, what are the characteristics of learners of the 21st century? So that if we are able to know their characteristics, we'll now be able to choose the right instructional strategies to be able to meet this class of learners. So the 21st century learners are characterized by they are easily distracted because they engage in a lot of activities at the same time. And so once they are engaged in so many activities, it becomes difficult for them to concentrate in learning activities. They are also socially active. They are one set of people that you always find them in social media, interacting with their friends, chatting with their friends. So they are socially active. They also crave for knowledge. Each and every one of them wants to get information. He doesn't wait for his neighbor. He wants to get knowledge on his own so that he will be able to argue out or discuss with his neighbor. He is independent. In spite of the fact that he interacts with his colleagues, he is always independent. He wants to get his information so that he does what he wants to do without his other people. Then he's always on the go. You hardly can find him seated in a classroom to listen to lectures. He is mobile, and so mobile learning is one of his basic characteristics. He's also impatient. Then with these characteristics of the learner of the 21st century, the next question we want to ask is, what are those emerging technologies that will be relevant to be able to use with this learner so that they will benefit from the instruction? One of them is the offline internet. This one provides opportunity for us to download materials from the net into our servers, into our mobile phones, into our laptops, such that after downloading these materials, we can now play them back, sit and read them, interact with this in the absence of continuous connectivity. And so, offline. The next one is artificial intelligence. This is a situation where machines or robots have been made to think and act using human characteristics, like reasoning, like decision making, getting data analysis for decisions to be taken. That is in vogue now, artificial intelligence. Then we have immersive technologies. These immersive technologies provide new environment because learning takes place in an environment, and the elements you provide in the environment help the learner to be able to form meaning. And so we have 2 broad categories of immersive technologies: augmented and virtual. These also are subdivided into various categories. Amongst the augmented, You can see that immersive technology. Somebody is wearing the immersive technology, and that gives him ideas to different environment, not just what he's looking at. The computer is able to create additional. We have class craft, we have seat cushions. Like there are certain persons who are regulars in class. They are hyperactive. They cannot sit down for 10 minutes without moving. And so the seat cushions will provide comfort so that such learners can be able to sit for a reasonable period of time to study. Then we also have closed captioning. This is used to help students who find difficulty in establishing a relationship between ideas or between concepts, so that they are now assisted to be able to. Then we also have variable speed recorders. Students who have problems with memory, they cannot recall. This will help them to be able to coordinate their ideas and be able to learn faster. These are some of the examples like I've mentioned. You also have products. You have timers so that you'll be able to. There are certain persons who get engaged in learning activities and they go on and on, doing one thing over and over again. So with the use of timers, the learners become conscious of their time and will make sure that they work according to time to be able to achieve. These are other assistive technologies that are in the market. Speech text options, noise eliminating headphones. Put on your headphones. Even if you are in the market, you'll be able to get what instruction is being offered to you and you will follow accordingly. Then we have the next set of instructional technologies as, sorry, go up please. This is the same thing. Then we have open educational resources. These are materials that are in the cyber world. They are open. They are virtually free. And so you do not pay for them. Even if they are to be paid for, they are relatively cheap. And because of this, you see that more learners are able to access materials. And this will increase the number of learners who will engage in meaningful learning because they are open and free, and you can download them into your system and use them at your own time. The next one, next slide please. Then we have wearable technologies. These are materials that are worn by us, either in our bodies or they are inserted into our system or sometimes even tattooed into us that will help us get information in the course of interacting. And so you can see wearable technology. Sometimes you can wear ring, gives you information. Sometimes you can use smart pen. You can do recording with your smart pen. Sometimes you wear glasses. That glasses will give you information. Sometimes you wear smart pants, which will be able to tell you the kind of diseases you are suffering from and tell you information about yourself. And so these wearable technologies help us to detect both sicknesses or ailments and also pass information to us so that we'll be able to live productive lives. Wearable technologies are very useful because they increase our productivity because they are very accurate and they give us rightful information and very correct information that will help us. Then we have remote, massive open online courses. These are courses that are open online. You can register for those courses. They last for 1, 2, 3 weeks and not for a year. and it lasts for a certain period of time. You utilize it for those courses, and once you get through the courses, you are able to improve yourself in your workplace, especially for workers who have no time to go for full-time studies. And so with this, you are able to develop. Then we have remote and virtual laboratories. These are laboratories that will enable students and teachers to engage in experiments, which would otherwise have been difficult because the equipment are either not there, or they are delicate to handle, or they are risky to be handled. And so through remote learning or remote laboratories, students and teachers are engaged in such experiments through the interface of the computer. And so risk is removed, accuracy is ensured, and experiences, diverse experiences is also provided for the learners. Then the next one is the Google suite. This is unlike Gmail. The Google suite is more encompassing than the Gmail. Gmail is individual. Google suite is used by institutions, by organizations, whereby they can make outside connections to different laboratories, to different organizations, collaborate in terms of exchange of goods and services. So GSUs, they are paid for, though more expensive than the Gmail, but they are more encompassing and give a lot of opportunities for organizations to achieve their goals. In this way, I want to commend the University of Calabar for the smart campus that has already been installed and is helping us to collaborate with others. And I want to say that this is enhanced by the current creation of the Department of Educational Technology. Because when we used to be a unit, it becomes difficult. When we say reposition, it becomes other curriculum and teaching. But now that we're a department and we already have partnerships that the university has already had, we are only trying to reawaken those partnerships so that through this juice, we are going to be able to enrich the campus learning activities. We assure you of that. So just be on the watch out. Then, now that we have known, these are just a few of the instructional tools that are emerging. And on daily basis, emerging technologies are coming up. Like I've said, they are not actually new, but new values, coming up. And so now we ask ourselves, who are the vulnerable species in Nigeria that these instructional technologies will be used for? This, I would say that every country is interested in educating majority of her citizens. And so the normal in-school children are one of the vulnerable species in Nigeria. This is because if we look at the population of these normal children in our schools, in the face of very few teachers, in the face of very few materials, you will find a teacher crowded in a classroom with hundreds of children. And it becomes difficult for the teacher to reach individual needs of these children that will be under his or her care. And so in such a situation, an appropriate emerging technology can be used to ensure that every child, like we mentioned class craft, every child is assessed and is provided for. And so in Nigeria, the normal day school, then we also have the normal out of school. We find children who are very healthy, who are not sick, but you find them hawking water or on the streets without being engaged in school. If we harness these children into a location, we'll be able to reach out to their needs and take them off the street through the appropriate use of appropriate instructional technologies. Then we have refugees, persons who have escaped the confines of a single border and they have crossed an international boundary. And we have quite a number of refugees in Nigeria. As at March 2021, there were about 68.5 thousand refugees in Nigeria. And these refugees are most often than not constrained in educational needs, constrained shelter, constrained by food. Through the appropriate use of emerging technologies, we will be able to reach out to these refugees and change their stories. Then we have internally displaced persons. These are within people within the self-confines that have been taken away from their homes with little or nothing. Most of them will move away from their homes with little than what they are wearing. And so they are deprived. These are most often than not one of the sets that are most abused sexually, physically, educationally. And so if we are able to adopt appropriate instructional technologies, we will be able to permit that a set of children are placed under an imam and he has to cater for them. But when the imam cannot provide the basic needs of the children, other is there, the children have no way other than to go into the society. And in the society, out of hunger, they can do anything. They can accept anything. And these street urchins, you see them sleeping on pavements, under bridges, barely on mats, or sometimes on bare floor. And mosquitoes are always their friends. We can also change the lifestyle of these street urchins if we adopt appropriate technologies to reach them. And once they are educated, we will move them out of the bad situation. There are other endangered species, like the women and girls. In Nigeria, we are already talking of gender equality. Most Nigerians cherish the education of the male children to the detriment of the girls. And so we need to adopt appropriate technologies to be able to reach them. Then we have rural dwellers. Majority of the Nigerian population are in rural areas. But we know the rural areas are incapacitated presence or non-presence of appropriate infrastructure. There is no pipe-borne water. There is no electricity. There are no schools. The schools that are in rural areas, teachers hardly accept posting to such schools. And so teachers are not there. Dilapidated structures are found. But if we are able to adopt appropriate instructional technologies, the rural dwellers, where the majority of resources are coming from, will be educated. We also have low-income earners. Low-income earners. We know that the living wage of an average Nigerian cannot actually take him or her home. So if we adopt appropriate technologies, we can provide for such. We also have prisoners. Prisoners. These are persons who have been convicted by a competent law in the land for wrongdoing. And there are two categories: awaiting trials and the convicts or the criminals. In Nigeria, there are quite a number of these people who have been in prison or they are in correctional homes. If the general society or schools or institutions adopt appropriate instructional technologies, these prisoners can be seen of Nigeria on Thursday between 6th of March 2020. Now graduated 22,627 graduates. Out of these, 3,000 were inmates from Nigerian prisons. And so if institutions adopt the technologies that the National Open University is using, we will be able to actually revamp the characters of the inmates. Because now they are called correctional centers. They are not punishment centers. You have made a mistake and you are in a center you are supposed to be corrected. So that by the time you come out of the term, you are now a better citizen. You can only achieve this if you use the appropriate instructional technology. Then, what are the challenges we are encountering in adopting instructional technology in Nigeria? See, we have inappropriate and dysfunctional technology policies. Nigeria is known, some of us refer to Nigeria as a copyist nation. You copy a policy that is operating in Japan. You do not adopt it to the circumstances of your country. You just import and you implement, and the result is always failure. Because the conditions within this country are not the same with the country that policy was initiated. So we have very dysfunctional policies. We also have very poor provisions for the training of professionals in the field of educational technology. You hardly find programs that encourage educational technologies to go for refresher courses. And so they are always left with the knowledge they have gained from when they were in school. So they become ineffective in. Then we also have, we don't have large-scale technology programs. You will find out that a technology program will be adopted that is not relevant to the Nigerian society, and it is stationed in one particular place. The person who may have been in authority that brought about the transfer of that technology, we want to locate it in its locality. And other parts of the country that actually will benefit from such technology, they are left out. The financial cost of technology infrastructure is very capital intensive. And just like the general budget of Nigeria is insufficient in education, that of educational technology is even more inadequate. And the problem is compounded by the fact that those who are charged with the responsibility of executing these projects with the resources so provided normally would divert such resources into useless projects, or sometimes into their private pockets. And at the end of it all, we have nothing to show for the projects that have been initiated. What then can we do as a country? Already I've mentioned that each and every one of us as a Nigerian is an endangered species because of the poor implementation of our educational system. And so one of the things we can do is to change our thinking about schooling and technology. Change our thinking about schooling and technology. The education system should be run in such a way that the technology is used to facilitate the achievement of the goals of education. It should not be the other way around. The education system should be there. Then we'll ask ourselves, how do we use technology to achieve our objectives? But Nigerians, they'll bring technology and leave it there, let it do magic. It will never happen. Then we should also be able to diversify our sources of funds. Diversify our sources of funds for educational technology. See, it is necessary for government to deliberately take educational technology as a prime component of the education system, so that provisions must be made adequately for educational technology in the yearly budget. Then there is also the need for us to deliberately undertake a synergy between government and community. In most of these communities where technology projects are cited, in less than no time, the indigenes of that community will vandalize the projects. Why? They were not consulted. Those projects are there because one person somewhere from Abuja says, give me this project. I want the project from the house, you take it. you have not gone back to do need analysis from the community where they will tell you that this is what we need. Even when you bring such a project, you don't engage the community in the maintenance, so that immediately you give them the slightest opportunity, they destroy. So that at the end of the tenure of your sponsorship, nobody within the community comes up again. How do we raise funds? How do we raise resources to sustain this project in our community? And so most often than not, projects that are initiated in communities do not stay for long. After the expiration of the owners or those who brought it, the community abandons those projects, and the objectives for which they were established are no longer there. And so it behooves on us. It is my candid belief that if we adopt some of these suggestions that I have made, then all of us will be able to execute an educational technology project that will benefit all of us. The education system, which is the life wire of the society, will now be executed in such a way that each and every one of us will benefit. My contributions. In the course of I am somebody who has attended all levels of formal education in Nigeria. When I started schooling, there were no nursing schools, and I have even attended nursing school. But since they were not there, I started from primary. From primary, I went to secondary. From secondary, I went to teachers' college. From teachers' college, I went to college of education. From college of education, I went to universities. So I've gone through all the levels of formal education in Nigeria. And I'm proud to say that I have also facilitated learning in all these levels. I have been able to do this for more than 20 years. 20 years I've been teaching. And more than half of this has been at the tertiary level. And so I want this, at this point, I will crave the indulgence of the crowd. If you know that I have facilitated your learning at one of these stages of Nigeria, please can you stand up? I have taught you at any level. Wave to the crowd. You can see I have taught. Thank you. This is only in this community. There are others who are managing different industries, contributing to the growth of this country and outside this country in various fields in other areas. That is one of the contributions I have made. I have been an external examination moderator with the Department of Curriculum Studies and Primary Education, Federal College of Education, Panshi, from 2012 till date. They gave me a blank appointment letter. Because I left the college, I left a positive mark, and when I left, they now appointed me the examiner for the degree program, and they have refused me to go. I am still there up to this moment, since 2012. I was one of 2 Nigerians who went to South Korea in 2012 to understudy the education policy and implementation of South Korea. I became the leader of 9 African countries that participated in that conference. I'm a facilitator. National Open University, Ushie Study Center. I started with Port Harcourt. I'm now with Ushie. Calabar Center has already invited me. I'm going to start with them. While I was teaching the Federal College of Education Beshel, I voluntarily supervised instruction in their schools with the permission of the State Ministry of Education. I was going to their schools, assisting their teachers in adopting appropriate instructional strategies to teach. That I did continuously until I left for the University of Ushie. When I was at the University of Ushie, I was a member of the governing board of the Institute of Education. I was a member until I relocated to the University of Calabar. I was National Secretary, Educational Media and Technology Association of Nigeria. And during my tenure as a secretary, for the first time, this association had existed in Nigeria as Nigerian Audiovisual Aids Association. It had not got registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. But when I became the secretary, I had to cause a change in the name from Nigerian Association of Educational Technology to Educational Media and Technology Association of Nigeria, and got to register with CAC. And so MTAN now is a registered professional body with Nigeria, recognized in Nigeria. I also participated in a review of the minimum standards for primary education studies organized by the National Commission for Colleges of Education. That was in 2019. This I have done, and I'm still doing in the University of Calabar. I'm still teaching. I acknowledge this. For a no me to become a professor today, many men and women allow themselves to be touched by God to bring assistance to me that today I am a professor. If I want to call on the names of everybody that got involved in my upbringing, that is going to be another inaugural lecture. So permit me just to mention a handful of them. To let Okani Chief Francis Akpado, this was my uncle who recommended me after my aborted secondary school. Since I didn't register for WAS, I dropped out of school because of 18 naira. That was the registration fee then. And so my uncle saw me in the village, gave me a letter to the late Okani Gabriel Oga, who was the then secretary to Cross River State Government. The man gave me an appointment. In fact, I had 3 appointment letters. And when I got back home, I decided to go for teaching. And when I took up the teaching appointment, I was posted to St. Coleman's Primary School, Otuba. And when I got there, the headmaster, after seeing my activities in class and within the school, on his own went to St. Thomas's Teachers College and bought the direct entry form for me. Filled it, and when the interview list came out, I saw my name. I said, I didn't apply because my working career, that first teaching appointment was get money, save money, go back to secondary school and write my final. But here, this man filled the form on my behalf. I said, okay, let me not disappoint him. I went for the interview. At the interview, I was also unfortunate. Another man I met was the old Mr. Alelele. He was the chairman of the committee. He asked me, who is the Ushie and Berry? I told him. He said, who is my father? I told him. I said, oh yeah, go. I left the interview very happy that I failed the interview because I wasn't asked any other questions. Meanwhile, the admission list came, I was number one on it. So this is how I entered Teachers College. I got into Teachers College, got my teacher's matric. See, now that I'm a teacher, NC, they used to have, when you graduate, they give you PTU. I said, okay, I was supposed to write that PTU stuff. I went to UU for my NC, got it, came back home, did some teaching. I came to the University of Calabar because that was my calling. Immediately I finished from University of Calabar. I was teaching, got transferred to Teachers College Ogoja, where I met a friend, a colleague who was my classmate. We did elementary education here together. And then we were teaching in St. Thomas's. He had been appointed the education secretary of his local government. And so he saw the advertisement, Federal College of Education function advertising for lecturers. And our area was there. He brought the newspaper to me. So a boy applied. I said, I don't cross River Benue. Say I applied. I applied. When they called for interview came, I was somewhere else facilitating for 1991 census. By the time I came to Ogoja where I was staying, that Friday I arrived was the end of the interview. This my friend still encouraged me, go. This is a national interview. The tendency is they are not going to finish. So go. On Sunday I left for Panshi. When I got to Panshi, it was a different story. Eventually, I was interviewed by a committee of 5 emergency interview panel. I got employed. I moved. At the Federal College of Education, Panshi, the School of Education organized a symposium. And since I was in Primary Education Studies Department, they felt that every lecturer in the Primary Studies Department was a fool, was not somebody who was sound upstairs. But they invited me to present the paper. When I presented that paper by Academic Trust Fund, that body still existing today, FC Panshi. I presented my paper. The chairman of the occasion said, what is this person doing in Primary Studies Department? And immediately, that outfit invited me, I became their member. And my membership of that body gave me a leap to publications. I started writing, I started attending conferences, and I grew. From Panshi, I came to the University of Ushie, did my master's degree. At that point, my supervisor, the first female vice chancellor of the University of Ushie, the person of Professor Comfortably, was my supervisor, said, boy, I'm not going to leave you to go. You have to stay back. What rank? What rank are you giving me? He said, assistant lecturer in the university. Already I was a principal lecturer in the Federal College of Education. I didn't take the offer. I went, applied for my PhD to Ibadan. Uyo did not send my transcript, so I wasn't admitted. In the other year, I applied to EDU. Uyo still didn't submit my transcript. So they told me, I said, okay, let me go back to Uyo for my PhD. I went back to Uyo, did the PhD, and at that point, they advertised. And I now went to my supervisor. Now she had become BBC Academics. I said, I've seen this advert. I wish to apply. She now asked me, are you ready now? I said, yes. I said, go and apply. Unfortunately, the 20 envelopes I put and submitted my application with my very good friend, Associate Professor Gibson Okoro. I hope you are here. Gibson Okoro, please. That is my classmate We submitted 20 envelopes of our application together. They called him for interview, and I wasn't shortlisted. He now asked why. He said, no, don't you know, if you are asking for this person, don't you think that he will come and block your chances? My friend said, no. I applied for senior lecturer. He applied for assistant lecturer. There is no way assistant lecturer will be deprived because of the senior lecturer. So they took up the fight. I was called. And the last day, my name was not on the list shortlisted. I was the last person to be interviewed, and I got my appointment letter before him. At this interview for employment, there is one person I want to recognize. Very objective, detribalized, educational administrator, and agriculturalist. I'm talking of no other person than Professor Akane Redese. He was the sitting vice chancellor there. At the interview, he said, young man, you have no PhD. Why are you applying for senior lecturer? God gave me the wisdom. I said, there are two ways you can become a senior lecturer. Either by qualification through your certificate or through your publication profile. I said, okay, look at his profile. The advert wanted 8 papers for senior lecturer. I had 22 publications. One member of the committee said, no, it's coming from the college system. Let us scrutinize his articles. Maybe they are college-based. They scrutinize. I ended up with 16. 16 till double the head they needed. And at the end, I was employed as a senior lecturer in the University of I came on sabbatical to the University of Calabar. On sabbatical, my interaction with the former dean, who is now the vice chancellor of the University of Calabar. I consulted her through my head of department, and he advised me to apply for appointment as a professor. She made her initial comments, but left that office not long after that. But I'm very sure that the positive comments she made on that my application must have prepared his successor, Professor Chris Chukura, to still fight for me to come to the University of Calabar. So I was employed, appointed as a professor. And I was pronounced a professor by no other person than the man we know, Mr. Project, the former vice chancellor of the University of Calabar. In person of Professor Sana Itunde Akanda. He pronounced me a professor, and that is why I proud myself as the first call professor of educational technology in the University of Calabar. Thank you.
I'm sure we now know why he wants to be addressed as teacher Professor Beshel Ushie Cletus. Can we put our hands together for him? Let me now invite the chairman of this occasion to step forward for the presentation of this beautiful lecture monograph.
have a singular pleasure to present to you the 105th Magna Lecture of the University of Calabar, presented by the teacher, Professor Beshel, Cletus.
Before I call for the vote of thanks, you know, while the lecture was going on, a very prominent member of this community walked in. Join me to welcome the 10th Vice Chancellor of this great university, Ntufan Professor. I don't know whether I should add teacher because I know he has a diploma in education. Sana Itumbe Akpaku. You're welcome. Let me invite the Chairman Committee of Deans to take the vote of thanks.
Chairman of the occasion, Vice Chancellor, represented here by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academy, Professor Yeta. Let me stand on the established protocol. Permit me to say one or two things before I can really do my assignment of today. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that the lecture that we are here today, presented by teacher Professor Ushie, I think most of you are here, you have learned so much from it. You know, I was expecting that this all should be full to the brim. Because this lecture, as I carefully listened to him, and also I've read the copy that's forwarded to me before now, it's not a lecture for professional teachers only. It's not a lecture for people who are called teacher professor, or teacher doctor, or teacher teacher. It's a lecture for all the lecturers in the university system. Because look at the way he presented it, very easy. Very easy. He looked at the overview of teaching, looking at the ancients of this method of teaching. It will be very sad for you as a lecturer that you get into the classroom and start making reference that in those days, this is what we were doing. It's wrong. Because in those days, teacher Professor Ushie had in detail given you what was there at that time. The type of methodology they were using, technology they were using. They are all updated. You cannot make reference to those days technology again. That is why he was able to give us the characteristics of the present learner. The present learner is not like you. You went to school 1960 something. You went to school 1970 something. We are in 2024. That's why we must learn to adjust ourselves into adapting these new technologies he has mentioned to us. Teacher Ushie has done so much in this lecture. Imagine the way he defined the species, the vulnerable species. I was expecting that he would mention species in the ecosystem. But since the type of species he has mentioned, some of the species are here. This lecture is like making education easy. Whether you are inside the bush, I mentioned some of the refugees. If we can adopt this new technology as they are suggested, the technologies are all around us. In fact, the current administration is trying to, we have decided that, look, there should be online teaching, 40% online teaching, and 60% face-to-face with the student. And you see, our colleagues are still resisting this technology. They are still resisting it because they want to go back to ancients of days. Others are moving forward. We are taking ourselves backward. Teacher, say thank you very much for reminding us. Let's come and continue. I'm also a teacher. He has also made things clear for us, though there are challenges that this methodology may face, but there's a way out they are suggested. I want all of us to get a copy of this book. If you are here in this hall, ensure that you have a copy of this book. You can buy up to 4 or 5 because you have so many teachers in your community. Give them those copies, let them read, so that we can adjust ourselves and abide this new technology. We should not be going back to 1960, in fact, 1960 something method. Please let us not do that. I advise ourselves. This work will guide us to do a good work, effective teaching and learning in our institution. Based on this, let me on behalf of the management of this university extend our heartfelt gratitude to every one of you for gracing the inaugural lecture. I would like to express our deepest appreciation to our distinguished speaker, teacher Professor Ushie, for sharing this invaluable insight and expertise in navigating the complex landscape of educational technology. Your comprehensive exploration of emerging technologies and their transformative potential is instructive for everyone so that we can adjust ourselves and meet up with the challenges of teaching and learning in our tertiary institutions. A special word of thanks goes to our honorable guest. I've not seen the former Vice Chancellor for 1 year plus, but this lecture I have seen him here. Former Vice Chancellor, you are welcome, sir. You are welcome, sir. So, a special thanks to you, even though you are one of us, and you are a very big man up there. And we are glad that today you are here with us, because we've been having a series of inaugural lectures. We have not seen you. So for gracing this occasion, it's a blessing to us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And all the guests that came from far and wide, want to thank you for making time to be with us here. And we also hope that you have learned so much. Some of you are professional teachers, like we are teachers here. I bet as you are coming back, try and get a copy of this book. It will help you and enhance your teaching and learning in your different school. I also want to extend our sincere gratitude to the organizing committee, especially the development and training division of our human resource and establishment of University of Calabar. You know, this committee have done well. In fact, after him, the next 2 weeks time we have another lecture. Another 2 weeks time we have another one. We have organized in such a way that in two weeks time we'll be gathering here. Committee, I want to thank you very much for this great work you have done. Participate. not to be in barriers and making speeches in barriers is not good enough. Finally, as I conclude, I want to thank the Almighty God who has granted teacher Ushie to fulfill the debt he has owed the Beshel of Calabar. Just pray that those of us who are still owing, God should also grant us that grace to fulfill our debt. Once again, I thank all of you. As I go back, the Lord God will be with all of you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that vote of thanks by the Chairman, Committee of Deans. It's now time to invite the representative of the Vice Chancellor, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Angela Oyoita. So please step forward and give us our closing remark as we put our hands together for her.
Duly observed. We are very delighted that we have been given the opportunity to have the 122nd inaugural lecture, and it's been quite an exciting one. I now understand why our inaugural lecturer is titled teacher. I know many of you who have gone through the road from teacher grade 2 to professor. How many of you have gone through? Nobody. So, he deserves that title. Please, a round of applause. It is not easy. And so he has been able to deliver as a teacher, poor teacher. And everybody was carried along. There are not many inaugural lecturers that can deliver as he did. So most of us are still so technical in our delivery. Now you leave the town out and they are talking to only the gown. But this inaugural lecturer carried along the gown and the town. It's another round of applause. I couldn't also observe that by the time we finish, all of us are vulnerable issues. But in our unique level. And so we all need to adopt the right instructional device or technology. When he started listing the vulnerable species, the first one was normal children. And I said normal children are vulnerable. And he explained to us how. So the normal children are normal, but they are in abnormal environments. And the abnormal environments call for innovative intervention. The right technology to be adopted to reach them. So you have the normal children, and there are so many in the class, and you have very few teachers, and you still need to reach them with quality education. So as normal as they appear to be, the situation around them is not normal enough for you to use the normal approach. And so you need to adopt the technologies that will still reach these children. So everybody is in need of instructional technology. And I also want to thank him that he has promised us that EDU technology, the newest department that we have in the university, Educational Technology Department, government was created, the last Senate, the 241st Senate. And we are glad that they are the ones taking up inaugural lecture, and they have promised to reach us because we are all unique. We are waiting, sir, that you will help us. Every one of us, as you have already identified, we all stand in need of this technology. So we are poised to tap from you and to reach all our students, irrespective of which category of machine that they belong to. We are also part of the ecosystem, and so we need to abreast ourselves with what is available and to run along with it. So once again, we say a very big thank you to you, sir, for this eye-opening lecture. And we trust that our educational system will improve as we continue to impact on it and give us the lead on how we can apply these technologies around for us. I wouldn't call this meeting to a close without acknowledging the 10th Vice Chancellor of our great university. So we are having you for the very first time in this administration. Thank you so much, sir, for honoring us. So this is a very, very special inaugural lecture, and it stands on record that indeed you had a good outing. Thank you for honoring us. And on this note, we bring this lecture to an end. Thank you for keeping a date with us. We look forward to another exciting inaugural lecture from one of us out there. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Can we put our hands together for Professor Angela Oyoita? Just a quick one. We have a group photograph. Then we take the university. Please, lecturer, please introduce the student, just his immediate family. May I introduce to you the wife of the inaugural 122nd inaugural lecturer. She is no other person than Mrs. Beshel Ushie Beatrice. Can we put our hands together for her? Let's wave to the crowd. You're welcome, madam. Also here present is Master Joe Peter Beshel Ushie. Just stand and wave. Talking on the Beshel Ushie. It is Zero Inimashi Beshel Ushie. Please, you're all welcome, and you please recognize. 10th Vice Chancellor have been specially introduced, and I think I should introduce him once again. If I don't, it's going to be something on my part. So please permit me to recognize the 10th Vice Chancellor of this great institution. He's no other person than Professor Zana Fabi. Can we make that clap louder? Louder and louder. You're welcome, sir. So we are so happy to see you. Very happy, sir. Welcome, sir. May I, at this point, remind us that we'll be having the next inaugural lecture on the 29th May. And this lecture is from the Directorate of Teaching Practice, Education again. Education on a day. And the lecturer is no other person than Professor Chika Uchendu. She's here, thank God. Please, well, don't just wait, let them see you. So please, I want to request that we have a huge turnout on the 29th of May, the exact time, 3:30 p.m. at this venue. Thank you so much as we have come to the end of the 123rd inaugural lecture. May I please request that we please stand? Please stand. while members of the high table will go down and have a snapshot. Immediately after the group photograph, we take the University of Calabar song. Members of the high table, can we please go down for a group photograph? Then we'll take the University of Calabar song from there and we process from there. Thank you so much. Please go down for a group photograph. Let's be snappy about it. Thank you.
Mr. Ben, please come.
Please don't leave the hall. Thank you so much. We are not done with this lecture. Please. Thank you. Just remain where you are. Please just remain where you are, please. Immediately after this, there will be a session. And professors that are roped will follow suit. Thank you.
After this procession.
Traditional troop is your presentation outside. Or you want to come and do
Gentlemen, after this procession, concerning okay, the song, please.
Can we take the University of Calabar song as we please remain where you are?
The broad expanse of Nigeria's sky stands us full with a vision bright, ever holding the banner of knowledge. I will go forward the wisdom's might. All hail to the honor master. We have come from near and far to unite in Calabar.
Thank you so much. Procession, members of the high table first, and followed immediately by professors that are roped. Thank you.
Well done, sir.
Mr. Ben. Mr. Ben. How did it end?
I'm coming.
I can't end. Did it end?
I can't start type on my cancel now, then you see end.